All right. Hey everyone, welcome to Smash Trivia. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia to follow everything happening with me. I'll be the one with the bale green head in the profile picture. I'm so excited to get into this. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, in this series, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies and TV shows. Hope you enjoy. Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they could please do something for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. For this episode, I'm not reviewing anything actually, and it's definitely not anything Hulk related. But I'm reading out the second half of a Powerpuff Girls live action pilot script that I had read the first half a few months ago. I'm reading it to the same two friends as from last time to get their reactions to it. And I'd like to take a moment, as always, to say that Smash Trivia has a Patreon, so please check that out. We have some fantastic extra content on there I bet you'll love. The tiers are as follows: Hulka Holla for $1, $3 a month is the Reading Room with Hulkie and Shulkie, and $5 a month is Smashing the TV. Our co-hosts today are, as always, Keith, aka Keith Sketches, aka Film Creator with a K. How you doing, Keith?
I'm doing good, John. How you doing?
I'm doing great. All right, and we have again, and just like last time we did this script reading, we have our resident Powerpuff Girl friend, fangirl, Annabelle, who's also one of the Variant Vendetta podcast hosts. How are you doing, Annabelle?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. Thank you for coming.
I love that we have a resident Powerpuff Girl fangirl.
I love that you called me that.
Awesome.
Hey, you're the biggest Powerpuff Girls fan that I know. So I thought so might as well call you that. All right. And our Hulka Holla for $1. We have Derek Sager and Gabriel Floral. And the podcast I want to shout out this week is Popcorn Psychology. It's hosted by three therapists from different branches. And I listened to the latest episode, which was one where they talked about the psychology of characters in Hocus Pocus, as well as how they would approach treating them. I found it very interesting, and if you're interested in psychology and films, I highly recommend checking them out. Right, and for the month of November, as I've started doing recently, I have another set of charities. I'm putting in the description of this episode. And I'm going to have these same ones for the entire month of November. So since this is my birthday month, as well as some other important things. And I have decided the links that I'm going to have for people to donate to, who are gonna be some and I obviously they're in the description. The links to donate to these is I decided to do something that's very personal, important to me. So these are charities is there for working on awareness and prevention of child abuse. The ones I have in the description are Child Help and the Chadwick Center. And if anyone knows of any others that you'd like me to put in the description, please let me know. And I will be happy to put any charities that you would like relating to child abuse in the description for the month of November. All right, so let's get into this Powerpuff Girls script. So last time we had introduction back into these characters from when they were a kid, and they ended up breaking up for a while, and they finally came back to their hometown because they were trying to get their inheritance from their father, because they've turned 18, and there seems to be some evil brewing in town, and we found out that the mayor of the town is the son of Mojo, the Odo, who within this version of the world it was just as a lab assistant, was not an actual monkey at all. And he and they end up going to this a diner, I believe, to find out some information, and where we left off last time was them outside the diner as the two of them were fighting each other, and one of them notices that across the street might be where they were supposed to be going, I believe was where we left off last time. But just to make sure that that's is true, I am going to real quick read again the last page that we read last time to just refresh our memories. So as Bubbles and Buttercup circle each other, Blossom notices a Razor scooter charging station across the street, and Blossom grabs the iPad from the car, checks Derek's numbers, and Blossom says, "Hey guys," and Bubbles goes frosty as she drops into her ice breath mode. And Buttercup says, "Ice me, and you're going in the dumpster." And Blossom's like, "Guys." They look at her, and she says, "I think this is an unusual concentration of high frequency technology that Drake was talking about." Blossom points to the Razor scooters, and Buttercup laughs. And Buttercup says, "Oh my God, see, Bubs? He's a sad, lonely quack. Let's go." Buttercup heads to the car. Bubbles sighs, looks to Ace. Ace and Bubbles says, "Let's get some B-roll, I guess." And Bubbles looks over Ace's shoulder as he films the charging station at the base of the apartment complex. 3 floors up, we see a figure watching Bubbles and Ace from their window. Enter Henrietta's lair, Night. Reveal, Henrietta watching them leave. Her evil lair is directly above the charging station and is the source of the energy that Drake identified. Henrietta turns back inside, surprised to find Jojo sitting in an armchair. Henrietta says, "Do you break into the homes of all the little girls you hire to do your evil bidding?" And Jojo notices a woolly bear on his arm, and he flicks it off as just the ones who have murdered their parents. Less red tape. How's progress? All right, so now we will get back into where we actually left off. So Henrietta says, "As you know, ups and downs." And Jojo eyes Henrietta, less than thrilled with her response. Jojo says, "The Powerpuff Girls collect their trust funds in 12 hours. That's how long you have to put 3 of these little bugs in their brains so I can control their minds. Make them throw a school bus of kids into a river." And Henrietta says,
What the fuck?
"And save the day, cementing your re-election. I know the playbook, Joji, and I love it aside of the saving the kids part. But I just sent my boy Caruthers on a mission, and it was no blame. Oh, I know." Reveal Caruthers on Henrietta's couch, looking beat up. Henrietta continues, "It was like a scalding dog. The mission was to try and get a bug into Blossom's ear, but instead we started a fight with Buttercup, didn't we? Didn't we?" To Jojo, "I need to do more testing." And Jojo says, "You have 12 hours, or I make you eat every single one of these bugs, turn you into the FBI, and you become the youngest person to ever be executed in America. Got it?" Henrietta's speechless, but clearly gets the message. Jojo heads for the door, tripping on a pair of shoes. He fears he looks stupid. He does. So he calls out angrily behind, 12 hours. The end of Act 2.
Wow.
So,
I
how are you
totally
guys
forgot.
feeling so far?
I totally forgot Drake was in this. I know it's not Drake. That was my attempted humor.
Oh,
The
I'm
mayor
feeling
is
like-
so hostile.
Yeah.
All right. Act 3. Enter the Powerpuff Girls house. Drake's lab. Day. Bubbles films Drake as they dig deeper into Drake's theory. Drake says, I don't see how I could be wrong. The evidence doesn't lie. Blossom enters, quietly helping herself to a coffee. And Blossom says, no, but sometimes people do. And Drake says, why would I lie about something like this? Blossom says, because you want us to reunite, Dad. But you know that appealing to my sense of responsibility with this town in danger thing is the only way to get me on board. And Bubbles says, oh, speaking of dangerous, this crazy dude came for Blossom Buttercup at the volcano. He had Scorpio energy. Chaotic. We got it on tape. Wanna see? We hear a loud bump upstairs. Blossom jumps, concerned. Blossom asks, what was that? As Bubbles pulls up the footage. Blossom silently exits. Drake watches her leave and turns to Bubbles. Drake says, what did I do to drive her away? And Bubbles says, just now or in a macro sense? Drake says, Bubbles, not a day goes by that I don't regret my greatest failure. And Bubbles says, Japan is a tough market to crack. Drake responds, I'm not talking about the brand. I mean the family. I never thought we'd fracture. And Bubbles says, look, we loved being Powerpuff Girls, but sometimes we wanted to be other things too. You know how in Dirty Dancing, Baby is like this big nerd who wants to join the Peace Corps? And when then she meets Johnny and becomes a fancy slut. But her dad is like disappointed in her because he thinks she's not a nerd anymore. But the thing is, she's still a nerd. It's just that now she's a nerd and a fancy slut. And it's too non-binary for Jerry a Orbach to grasp. As when Drake ponders the metaphor with a look of remorse. Enter Powerpuff Girls' home, hallway, slash Buttercup's room, day. Blossom heads upstairs, where the bumping sound continues from Buttercup's room, then abruptly stops. But Awesome opens the door and finds Buttercup in bed with Macy, the woman she eyed at the bar the night before. They've just finished. And Blossom says, oh God, I'm sorry. And Buttercup says, it's fine, to Macy. We're done, right? Macy says, I'd say 6 times is enough.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Wow.
Bubbles and Drake enter on Blossom's heels. And Blossom to Bubbles and Drake, says, guys, no. Buttercup says, it's fine. I'm not remotely ashamed. I'm just getting my life, people. And tonight, I finally get access to my trust. And I never have to come back to Clownsville again. Macy says, what about me? And Buttercup says, you should come with me. 3-acre farm and chickens. Bubbles quietly says, U-Haul. Drake says, why are you acting like being here is torture? I didn't raise you like this. Buttercup says, exactly. You raised us to be a franchise, not a family. We don't know how to be together without a shot list and suggested dialogue. Bubbles says, but remember how much fun we had when the cameras were off. Buttercup says, when were they off? We see the Ace filming from the hallway. Blossom rolls her eyes, and Blossom to Drake says, when you're a kid, Ed, the stakes are supposed to be low. A kid should be worried about losing their lunch money or being picked last in PE. A kid shouldn't be worried about cat burglars or giant lizards or accidentally farting on TRL. Bubbles says Carson handled that well. And Blossom says there was always something scary around the corner. It wasn't normal, and we never had space to process it. Aw, and Blossom continues. You said you created us because you always wanted to be a dad. So why not just make 3 little girls? And Drake says, well, that would be kind of weird. Blossom shakes her head, frustrated with Drake's response. Macy, exiting, says, I'm late to acro yoga. It's kind of like flying. And Buttercup says, oh, that's fun. Call me. And Blossom says, I'm out of here too. But Bubbles says, right. You've spent a total of 10 minutes with us and you're already a ghost. Where are you going? Blossom exiting, and he says, I need to talk to a human being who understands emotions. Drake, offended, and it says, I am a known homo sapien. Or Homo sapien. Exit Cerebellum's house day. A charming bungalow. Blossom rings the doorbell. Cerebellum, now an attractive redhead in her 40s, answers the door. Sarah, delighted, says, Blossie, I didn't think you would actually come. And Blossom says, hey, Sarah. Blossom meets Sarah for a hug. And Blossom continues, you still wear the same perfume. And Blossom and Sarah in unison and say, Britney Spears citrus fantasy. So how are you guys feeling so far?
Britney Spears, what?
Citrus fantasy.
I love it. I love it.
Anything Britney Spears, I love her.
Oh my god, yeah.
I love the description of Dirty Dancing. That was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen Dirty Dancing, so I had to think, but it sounded pretty fun.
I'm laughing at I'm still reeling at the whole Buttercup 6 times thing.
Yes.
And now I'm petting my cat, so I'm distracted.
Your evil cat.
Oh.
Grace, oh my gosh.
I guess she's just staying here now. Okay, continue.
So far, so good, John. We're doing good.
So at Cerebellum's house, same time. I'm Blossom and Sarah sit in the cozy den, drink tea and catch up. Sarah's demeanor is warm. She's an earthy big sister type. Sarah says, you know, I was hoping to see all of you. Are my other bees just busy? And Blossom says, no, I just really need to talk to someone one-on-one. When we're together, it's like we're suddenly kids again, and it just gets... And Sarah says, emotional? Yeah, I get it. You girls had a gnarly childhood. I used to fight with your dad about how much was expected of you. Blossom says, you always stood up for us. It's why I reply to your text and not his. Sarah says, Drake really does care deeply about you guys. He just didn't want you to hide your light. He thought pushing you was a form of love. Blossom says, well, it didn't feel like it, and we were punished for his dream. Have you ever noticed that my dad just got to continue living here in peace as a beloved eccentric after we were drummed out of town? Sarah says, he lives here, but not in peace. I think he has a lot of regrets about how things went down. He's not a bad guy, Bloss. He can be enraging and oblivious, trust me. I dated the man for 5 years, but he has a good heart. Blossom says, it's kind of sounds like you still love him. Sarah blushes and scoffs as the tea kettle goes off. Sarah gets up to turn it off as Blossom looks at her phone, thinks, then starts typing a text. Enter her Powerpuff Girls home kitchen day. Bubbles and Drake sit at the kitchen table, still reviewing footage. They both wear a sheet mask, and are both flustered. Bubbles says, okay, maybe everyone's interest or internet works, but they're hallucinating that it doesn't because of something in the water. Or Drake, Solemn says, aliens? Bubbles is like, wait. And on the footage, Bubbles spots Henrietta at the window. Bubbles continues, that's the same little girl we met in front of the house. Coincidence? Drake says, maybe we should look into her. And Bubbles says, she's like 10. Drake says, so were you. Back when many a villain and made the mistake of underestimating my girls.
Nice.
Drake,
Yes.
phone buzzes with a text. It's from Blossom. Very surprised eyes. Drake opens it, then smiles. As Drake continues, your sister texted me. She said if we're still investigating, to look out for the barfly's yellow eyes. And Bubbles says, look at that. Progress. Drake smiles, so touched by Blossom's gesture. Drake says, maybe I can come back from all this after all. Bubbles says, once I get my money today, we can use part of my cut to go deeper with our investigation. This city needs a Powerpuff Girl. And post rehab, I've always wanted to go solo. Timberlake solo. Drake looks guilty at the mention of the money. Drake says, right. Bubbles says, I have to rinse. Gotta look fresh for the trust fund meeting. Bubbles skips out, and Drake keeps looking at the Henrietta footage. Her face is stormy, mysterious, possibly evil. Enter Henrietta's lair. Day. Henrietta, surrounded by empties of monster's energy, builds more woolly bears. Jojo bursts in, impatient. Jojo says, time's up, Henny. Henrietta says, they're not ready. And Jojo says, I don't care. Show me what you've got. The main event. Henrietta pulls out a box and opens the lid, revealing 3 special woolly bears. 1 blue, 1 pink, 1 green. Henrietta says, these are designed specifically to target them and intercept at their minds. Blue for blue. And Jojo just cuts her off saying, yeah, got it. Jojo snatches the bugs from Henrietta, opens the window, and lets the woolly bears crawl out. Enter Powerpuff Girls home. Bubbles' bedroom or bathroom. Day. An upbeat Bubbles gets ready. Makeup and accessories are scattered all over the vanity. The blue woolly bear appears on her windowsill. Bubbles pulls on a blue beanie that covers her ears and has holes for her pigtails to emerge. Bubbles says, that's cute. Ski bunny mood. Woolly bear looks perplexed. Exit a Powerpuff Girls home driveway. Same time. As Blossom approaches the house, she notices the pink woolly bear crawling up her arm. She frowns, picks it off, and places it on a leaf. The woolly bear falls off the leaf and into a puddle where it short circuits. Enter Powerpuff Girls' home kitchen at the same time. Buttercup is about to take a sip of black coffee when she sees the green woolly bear coiled around the cup. She yelps, flicks it down the drain, and turns on the garbage disposal. Enter Powerpuff Girls' home, living room, day. Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup sit on the couch across from an attorney, Larry, as Drake stands anxiously in the corner. Larry is a typical cheap TV lawyer type. He organizes papers from a briefcase. Ace Films. Everyone sits in silence. Buttercup says, I haven't seen you on a bus bench. Larry says, I suppose... Or Buttercup says, haven't I seen you on a bus bench? And Larry says, I suppose we're both famous. Looks through the papers. So we're looking at about 5 apiece, right? Drake. And Drake watches the girls. Bubbles pulls her beanie up from her ears, hoping she heard correctly. We see the blue woolly bear crawling along the couch, headed for Bubbles' ear canal. Bubbles says, 5 million? And Buttercup says, no way. 500,000? I mean, that feels low, but... And Larry says, 5,000. Bubbles says, come again? I'm sorry, what? I was pretty obvious. Obviously, weren't going to make much on you, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man. And Drake says, look, this isn't easy for me to say. I saw how hard you girls worked, how brave you were in all those battles, and I wanted to maximize your earnings, so I made some investments. Buttercup says, what did you invest in, Dad? Drake says, well, some real estate in 2008, and then some fidget spinners. Have you guys heard of Cronuts? Blossom says, God. The money's gone, and you knew it, and you knew about it. Why did you make us come out here? Drake says, because I miss you, and I love you.
Oh.
Bubbles says, so the evil lab thing was a lie? And Drake says, no, I truly believe disaster is imminent. Buttercup says, you are mentally ill. This is why I don't call or visit. She picks up a vase. Drake instinctively ducks and cowers. Drake says, I'm sorry, Buttercup. Buttercup pulls off with the vase as if to throw it when a chair crashes through the window. Reveal, Bubbles, Hulk level furious, is the one who threw the chair.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
Oh,
what
shit.
about me? Bubbles says, as she angrily gesticulates. She unwittingly flings off the woolly bear. Larry drops the briefcase and runs. The woolly bear heads for Bubbles again, crawling up her leg. Bubbles continues, I'm the only one who ever put family and team first. No matter what. Powerpuffs forever, right? She turns to Drake. I always believed in you and defended you. I guess I'm the idiot. You all always thought I was. Blossom says, we don't think that. Bubbles says, I'm out of here. It's relapse time. Drake tries to stop Bubbles as she heads for the jagged hole where the window used to be. Drake puts his hand on her arm, and Drake says, "Sweetie." And the woolly bear crawls from Bubbles onto Drake and into his ear. Bubbles flies out the window, a blue streak in the sky. Buttercup glares at Drake and flies after her. Blossom says, "You were supposed to protect us, and you never did. Not now, not ever. And because of that, I killed Mojo, and it ruined my life. Wasn't it bad enough that you stole our past from us? Now we don't even have futures." Then she angrily says, "Do you even care?" Drake is silent. He has a strange yellow glint in his eye. He isn't there anymore, but Blossom doesn't notice it. Blossom continues, "Cool, got it. I never want to see you again." She exits as we end Act 3. Wow. So, how are you guys feeling about this is here?
Damn! Damn!
I'm
Things
loving
really
this.
Heated up from where we ended off last time.
Yeah.
Things got real. The stakes are higher. I love it. It's very Act 3-ish. But I feel like I said this last time, but I still feel like this would work better animated than a live action thing. Like Harley Quinn R-rated kind of like animated, where it's like, oh, no holds barred jokes can be said, but it's still with fun visuals, as opposed to getting live actors to try and figure out the tone of this. I feel like they could just animate it better.
Yeah, I could see that. But as John was going through the script, like everything that he was doing for Bubbles, I was picturing Dove Cameron and like the scene in my brain. And I was like, oh my God, it's perfect. It's great. If I'm remembering correctly, the first half of the episode, the last episode we did, I was not happy about this show. The second half has kind of redeemed it for me. I would want to watch that. It's very interesting. Bubbles as a character, I love her. I love her so much.
She's getting a lot of focus too, which is
nice. Which is good, because she was always in the cartoon. She was always the dumb one, one that was too sensitive.
Yeah.
And I like that they still have that with her now in this character, but she's grown up and is a person herself as well.
Yeah. But I think so I've now watched some of the original show, unlike when we had done last time where I hadn't watched any of it. I actually think I'm probably more similar to Bubbles than I am to Buttercup, because I think I'm probably like I'm actually a pretty sensitive person compared to most people I have on my podcast. So I would actually say I'm most similar to Bubbles and not Buttercup. I honestly, at least through everything I watched, I kind of felt out through the original show that Buttercup is really just a jerk to me. In my opinion.
Yeah,
so I don't
definitely can be.
I don't know. I hope that people don't think of me as a jerk like Buttercup.
Oh no, John, of course not.
To me, the only similarity between you and Buttercup is the green.
I remember last time you guys were saying that that you thought I was most like Buttercup of the bunch.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if you picked Buttercup because she's green, then I get it. But no, I don't think you're like Buttercup.
Yeah.
I redact and retract my.
I redact. Yes. I think I made that judgment, one, because the color green, and two, because Buttercup, she's not just a jerk, but she has this type of like sarcastic wit that I get from you a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
So that's where I made that connection. But I definitely do not think you
Okay.
are a jerk.
Yeah, because like that was the biggest thing when I've watched the show is like just every episode seemed like almost every episode Buttercup is just a jerk in some way. I'm like, oh my god. Why do you have to be such a jerk to your sisters? And also choose villains that don't seem to always deserve or how you act towards them. Like I particularly one of the episodes where I felt that was the first appearance of I can't remember his name, but this guy who lived out in the woods, and he didn't want anyone to bother him, and like she just was like such a jerk to him, and it kind of seemed like she was being very insensitive to his mental health as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember in the cartoon they are kids too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's continue on with this. So, Act 4, we enter a jail daytime. A close up of a man's mouth. Somehow, I don't think anyone would want to see that at be the start of a scene. That just sounds disgusting. Officer says, Bubbles Altium. And Bubbles is now out in a holding cell. She opens her bloodshot eyes, plastered with sleep. She sits up, looking rough, revealing Ace is beside an officer outside the cell. He gives Bubbles a brief, compassionate wave. Bubbles stumbles towards him. As they walk down the hallway, Bubbles vomits. It's an Ace pats her back. Ace says, I got a great shot of you freeing all those snakes from the zoo. Bubbles says, they were legless lizards, urges Ace. She spits out the last bit. Not that it matters. Enter Powerpuff Girls' house, kitchen, day. Blossom finishes her coffee, sets the cup up by the sink, and we stay in the kitchen to reveal a mangled green woolly bear, the one that Buttercup had disposed of in the sink earlier, is crawling out of the sink, and we then enter the entryway of the Powerpuff Girls house day. Blossom opens the front door when she hears a phone ring. She stops, looks inside at the red phone, but it wasn't wasn't it unplugged? Blossom walks over to it as it stops ringing. Confused, Blossom goes upstairs, passing by the green woolly bear, now crawling up the banister. Enter Buttercup's room, day. Blossom tiptoes to Buttercup's side of the bed. Macy's asleep. A Buttercup's Googling backpacking trips on her phone. Blossom says, did you hear a phone ring? And Blossom says, yeah, it was the house line. How far do you think $5,000 can we get? Do you think we can get with $5,000? And Blossom continues, not Blossom. Buttercup continues, speaks as she types. I direct flights to Peru. And Blossom says, I know it's stupid, but I can't stop thinking about that creepy guy in the bar. Those yellow eyes. Buttercup says, he probably has liver disease. Then reading Blossom, look, this spidey sense you're feeling right now, it's a part of you the world would like the part of you that would like to believe there's evil in town, because that means that maybe Dad's not a pathological liar. But Occam's razor. I don't know what Occam's razor is, so I don't know what that reference is.
I used to know.
I don't know either.
Bubbles enters in sunglasses. Buttercup covers her nose as the green woolly bear crawls around on Buttercup's wall towards her bed. Bubbles, acknowledging, and says, "Yeah, I stink. Thank you for your compassion. I'm going back to LA now. I'll FaceTime you at Christmas if I'm still alive." Close in on the woolly bear crawling into an ear canal. Oh no, did it finally get to Blossom? Pull back to reveal Macy springing out of bed, possessed. She grabs the bedside table lamp and smashes it on Buttercup's head, then turns towards Blossom, flashing her yellow eyes. Blossom says, "Oh my God, the yellow eyes!" Macy throws down the bookcase. Bubbles attacks her, but Macy manages to duck and throw Bubbles smack into the wall. Bubbles tries to shake off the blow as Macy lifts up a bedside table, about to smash it over Bubbles' head, when Buttercup kicks Macy's legs out from under her. Macy falls, hitting her head on a desk chair, and causing the green woolly bear to fly out of her ear. Macy groans. The girls stare at the green woolly bear in shock. Enter Powerpuff Girls' home. Drake's lab, day. The girls examine the woolly bear under a microscope. Blossom dissects it, revealing its wiring and a square metal chip. Bubbles says, "Whoa, it's a robot! Magic!" And Blossom says, "This is an AI chipset. The furry hairs on the outside are actually nanofibers intended to latch onto something. I'm guessing a brain." And Buttercup says, "How do you know all that?" Blossom says, "I have a PhD in biotech." And their sisters clearly don't know that. And she says, "Really? You guys don't know that?" Buttercup says, "Psh, course I knew that." Bubble says, "Biotech, duh, nerd alert." Blossom says, "Anyway, I think someone engineered these things for mind control. The guy at the bar, our Macy, that's why their eyes had that weird yellow glint. They were possessed." Then realizing, she says, "As Dad was right, evil is back in Townsville." Bubbles is stunned. Buttercup is still a little skeptical. Oh, and she says, "So someone put this thing in Macy to get her to what? Attack us? Because that's a bunk plan." Blossom says, "I don't know. This thing looks pretty damaged. Maybe it misfired." Bubbles says, "Dad and I were working on a theory. Buttercup, do you remember that girl we met outside the house, our biggest fan?" Buttercup, realizing, says, "The one with the pet caterpillar?" And Bubbles says, "Yeah, that was shady. And we spotted her in my dock footage outside the cano, watching us." Buttercup, really hitting her, says, "I can't believe this. I really thought Drake made it all up. Like that mom who poisoned her kid for Disney tickets." Bubbles says, "So crazy. Like, think bigger." Suddenly, all three girls get Google alerts on their phones. Buttercup says, "Are you guys seeing this?" Bubbles says, "What the?" Blossom turns on the TV. A breaking news banner reads, "Townsville erupts in riots. Chaos." A newscaster reports, "The riots started moments ago, cause of which are still unknown." And the girls are in shock as they watch the news footage of citizens destroying Townsville. it'll match that footage to as we enter mayor's office. Continuous. If the TV is on, Jojo looks in the mirror, deciding between two ties, red or blue. Henrietta, surrounded by her woolly bear creations, opens the window. Henrietta says, "Just so I'm clear, now we're gonna loose your woolly bears into Townsville. Let them crawl into people's ears and brains, then turn their aggro up to 10. Jojo says, "Exactly. We need a new plan after your idiot worms incepted the wrong Altium." Henrietta says, "Then what happens?" Jojo says, "I blame the entire thing on Drake. He confesses via Woolly Bear that he's drunk with power, blah, blah, blah. I arrest him, save the day, and Townsville reelects me as mayor. A fun bonus. Drake rots in prison, and maybe I get to console Blossom." With that, Jojo picks a red tie. Henrietta sadly watches her woolly bears leave the office out the window and mess. Henrietta says, "Goodbye, Karen, Jared, Eric, Melania, Donald, Ruby Giuliani, Ted." Enter her Altium house. Living room, continuous. The girls keep watching TV as the news switches to press conference. The banner below says, "Townsville erupts in chaos, mind-controlling robots. Mayor Mondale speaks." Jojo says, "Citizens, under the control of these malicious robots, are being forced to act violently towards each other with no end in sight. We believe this is the work of an evil mastermind, Professor Drake Altium." And Bubbles says, "What?" On TV, news footage of Drake on a rooftop screaming, and Drake saying, "Burn Townsville! All must pay." If you're looking for it, you can see this. You can see his, and it doesn't. So that's just that says that is not something anyone says. That's something that's just in the script. It just says, if you're looking for it, you can see his ... I don't know. Oh, his yellow eyes. Blossom's awesome notices his yellow eyes. Buttercup says, "Someone's setting him up." Bubbles says, "He needs us now." And Blossom, awesome, overwhelmed and terrified by all this call to duty. End of Act 4. Oh yeah, I'm really glad we got a confirmation that it was yellow eyes, because I was really worried. What are we able to see here? This is a CW show.
If you're looking for it, I mean.
Come on.
Now I am.
Oh my god. So as we have ended in Act 4, what do you guys think so far?
I like the ramping up of this drama and the fact that he was just screaming at the top of his lungs in the news. That was good. That was nice.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I think
Oh my god.
Jojo's got a solid villain plan. He's got a solid master plan going here.
Good for Jojo.
Good for him, yes.
Living his best life. I also really like the fact that they didn't know that Blossom had studied biotech.
Yeah.
It really shows how they don't talk much anymore at all.
That's not a quick degree to get.
No, a PhD. Oh my god.
Yeah. Right. So Act 5. Exit Townsville streets. Various day. The Powerpuff Girls drive towards town in the white Puffmobile Sprinter van. Buttercup drives. Blossom is front and Bubbles is back. They pull up to the city center. Buttercup says, I can't believe we didn't fly. Blossom says, I'm sorry. You know I can't get it on a plane without a Xanax. And Buttercup says, but you can literally fly. Can't handle this. Let's sidebar this. They get out of the car. We see anarchy in the streets. 8 cars on fire. There are fights breaking out. Bubbles says they're all possessed. This is like the gathering of the Juggalos. Blossom says, "You've been?" Bubbles says, "I was paid to appear." Blossom
Oh my
says,
god.
I need to get to Dad. We need to get to Dad. And the girls keep taking it in. People are fighting, shouting, and destroying property. Fire hydrants have been opened, and there's water all over the streets. Nearby, Henrietta, unnoticed by the Powerpuff Girls, strolls through the insanity she's helped create. She spots the girls and picks up her phone, ducking into an alley. Enter Alley Day. Henrietta into her phone says, okay, they're here. You might want to make that arrest. Cross out a phone call. Enter mayor's office. Day. Jojo's on the phone. Exhilarated. Jojo says, all 3 of them? Even Blossom? Henrietta, who is bored, says, yup, you'll get to see them kick and scream as their dad gets hauled off to jail. Just like you put on your vision board. Which you should never show anyone, by the way. Gold Lambo is cringe. Jojo smiles, taking in this moment. When his pet monkey screeches, Jojo frowns, his mood darkening. Jojo says, no, it's not enough. I can't squander this opportunity. Henrietta says, what do you want me to do, Jojo? Jojo says, I want them to know how it feels to watch their father die. New plan. Enter Townsville City Center. Same time. The Powerpuff Girls head for Drake. On their way there, they cannot help but notice the mayhem. Bubbles stops. Bubbles says, guys, wait. What about all those people? They need us. Blossom looks around, conflicted. Buttercup keeps moving, then turns when she sees Blossom and Bubbles haven't moved. Buttercup says, come on, saving Dad's life. I get, but playing superhero again? Buttercup gestures to the fighting and ruin around them. And she continues, these are the same normos that kicked us out of here a decade ago. Why would we want to help them? And Blossom sighs, conflicted. Bubbles sees her wavering. Bubbles says, Blossom, you are the one who always said we should help people, no matter what. Remember, you had the biggest, bravest heart of all 3 of us. That's why you were the leader. Blossom says, I was the leader because Dad said so. Buttercup says, that's not true. I was designed to be in charge, but your annoying type A ass claimed that role. And she has to admit, though, and you owned it. Bubbles says, guys, I know everyone here rejected us for some semi-misogynistic reasons, but Townsville is our home, and it's getting destroyed. We have to save it and Dad. And she turns to Buttercup saying, this is our chance to show them that they were wrong about us. Buttercup looks around, taking it in. Buttercup says, look, I hate this town. I'm 50-50 on Drake, but I've got a hard-on for mayhem that won't go down. I'm in. Bubbles smiles, looks to Blossom. She's shaking. And Blossom says, "No, I've done too much work in therapy to go there. I'm a grown woman now. I have degrees and a boyfriend and furniture from West Elm. I'm not a Powerpuff Girl." And Blossom starts to have a panic attack, then runs off. Bubbles is about to take off after Blossom, but Buttercup stops her, saying, "We have to move on." Bubbles says, "But Bloss," Buttercup says, "we'll do it for her, okay? It's what she wants, even if she can't say it. She always was our conscience." And Bubbles says, "And I was just the attention whore." And Buttercup says, "Hey, you were amazing." Bubbles nods, touched. They take off in the other direction. Exit Townsville, sky overhead, and moments later, possessed Drake is still standing on the rooftop. Bubbles and Buttercup observe from a safe distance. Buttercup says, "Okay, so when Macy hit her head, it drove the woolly bear out of her. We need to do something like that, but on a mass scale, without like," and Bubbles cuts her off, saying, "Killing people?" Right. Bubbles looks around. Her eyes land on a spa with an advertisement for laser hair removal. Her eyes light up. Bubbles continues, saying, "Electrolysis." Electrolysis. Buttercup, frustrated, it says, "I know you don't get the natural thing, but now is not the time." And Bubbles flies to the telephone pole and rips a wire out of the pole, exposing its frayed end. Buttercup smiles, getting it. Buttercup continued, says, "Oh, sick. We're gonna fry them." Bubbles says, "No, we're gonna lightly shock them. Enough to drive the bugs out, but not enough to kill them. Look, they're all standing in water. Help me grab that pole." They fly over to a telephone pole and begin to uproot it. Enter Allie at the same time. Blossom sits beside a dumpster doing breathing exercises. She closes her eyes and opens them, revealing young Blossom. Young Blossom tells her, "Hey, why are you hiding? Bubbles and Buttercup need your help." And Blossom says, "I don't know how to help. I can't do this. I just want a normal life." Young Blossom tells her, "No one has a normal life. Everybody has a superpower, and everybody has to decide how they're going to use it." Blossom says, I can't be the hero they want me to be." Young Blossom says, "So be the hero you want to be. Do it for you on your terms. Now it's time to take a chance, make a change." Blossom smiling to herself, "And break away," she says. Young Blossom disappears. Suddenly, the ground trembles. Enter Townsville City Center at the same time. Buttercup and Bubbles hold the telephone pole above the crowd, and Buttercup says, "Just touch it to the water, and the shock will spread." So, how are we feeling now?
I mean, it's hopefully going to work, this plan, and not kill everybody. I can only imagine it's not going to kill everyone.
That would be a little bit too far, probably, if it killed everyone.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm really enjoying this so far, actually. I really love every time Blossom has a freak out, she talks to her younger self. I really love how they portray that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying how they're how Even though I don't really like their father is kind of portrayed as an abusive father, because that wasn't really what he was like in the original show. He was like a really loving person in the original show, but
Yeah.
I do like how they're are portraying his relationship with him, with what he did to them, and within this version of the world, because it does feel very real to how it would be, at least in my opinion, and for if someone had an abusive father, or I've definitely had with my father, moments where I felt exactly like how they talked to him in this. So that feels, it feels really cool how it feels like a very real relationship with an abusive father, which is surprising that something as ridiculous as this would have such emotional moments that feel real.
They get that right.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm starting to like it, because it was like that first half was just a bunch of ridiculous shit. And now we're really getting into the deep part of it.
Yeah.
So it makes all of that ridiculous shit better.
Very well said.
And also, like, this shows a lot of the ridiculous shit, but like I can't help but just think it's absolutely hilarious whenever there's these sex references in this thing, because that's just so different from what you would expect, aside from the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Especially after watching the original cartoon. Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, just like you guys laugh so hard at the like they had sex 6 times. I was that's amazing that
I wasn't expecting
they allowed jokes like that in this.
Yeah.
And I really loved that it was with a woman as well. I loved that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So let's continue this. They lowered the pole gingerly. A jolt of electricity surges through the teeming mass standing in the flooded streets. People are knocked out, and then suddenly, Blubbles says, "As look, the woolly bears are crawling and jumping out of people's ears. Bubbles and Buttercup are stoked, but then Henrietta shows up saying, 'Hello, Powerpuffs.' Reveal Henrietta on the roof over the building with Drake. The sisters are midair, holding the pole aloft. And Henrietta continues, 'I have complete and total power over him.' And she turns to Drake saying, 'Right, Professor Quacktonium.' Drake nods numbly at A, and Bubbles says, 'I knew you were a fake fan. Nobody's favorite is Blossom.' Buttercup says, 'Look, I don't know what you want with our dad, but please, let's talk this out, girl to girl.' Henrietta says, 'You're not a girl. You're a boring grown-up who used to be cool.
Oh,
Hang it up
shit.
and start a book club.'
Oh, damn.
Bubbles lets go of the pole, ready to save Ave Drake, but with the electric current, it's too much for Buttercup alone. And Buttercup says, 'Bubbles!' And Bubbles sees Buttercup needs her and helps her with the pole before it crashes to the ground. But the sisters are stuck. Buttercup continues, 'We can't drop the pole. It'll kill them all.' And Henrietta says, 'Let's go for a walk.' And Drake, obediently, walks to the edge of the building and falls off. Bubbles and Buttercup are helpless, holding the pole, screaming. And that is the end of Act 5.
Is that the end of the episode?
No, there is
Okay.
there's a few more pages left.
Blossom's gonna save him.
Yes, I would hope. My goodness, what an end.
I would hope that Blossom saves him.
Just splat.
It's setting this up. It would be setting this up for a very dark show if their father dies the first episode.
Yeah, wow, that would be crazy.
So,
it's a very superhero trope.
So, then, and as Act 6 starts, we exit to Townsville. Day. Drake plummets towards the ground. Buttercup screams. Bubbles watches in terror as Drake falls. Bubbles shouts, "Daddy!" Drake drops faster and faster, 30 feet away from the ground, then 20, then 10. When Blossom cuts through the air and scoops him up.
Woo!
And Buttercup says, "That's my bitch right there."
Yes! Yes, Buttercup, that is your bitch. I love it.
Enter Mayor's office, continuous. Jojo watches from his window, furious. Jojo says, "No, no, no!" Back in the air, Blossom soaks up her hero moment. Blossom says, "Sorry I'm late, Dad, but I had to make peace with an old..." She gets cut off as Drake slaps and scratches at Blossom as he's still possessed. Blossom continues, "Stop, stop! Ow! You are so annoying!" Blossom lands on the street with Drake, his fist flying. Blossom punches him in the face. His woolly bear flies out of his ear. Blossom stomps it as Drake moans on the ground. Blossom continues, "That was surprisingly cathartic." Townsville Center. Bubbles is stomping out all the woolly bears on the street when Blossom lands beside her. Or Bubbles is stomping out all the woolly bears on the street when Blossom lands beside her. Bubbles gives her a huge hug. Bubbles says, "Blossie, you saved the day." Henrietta it says OS says "My babies, my poor babies." Blossom and Bubbles turn to find Henrietta crouched in a puddle, mourning her woolly bears. Bubbles hauntingly stomps one out right in front of her.
Damn.
Bubbles says, "Oops."
Oh shit! She throwing some shade.
Henrietta smiles menacingly, slowly standing up. She says, "Woolly bears, mount up." The busted woolly bears start to rise up and crawl towards Henrietta as she cackles maniacally. Then suddenly, Henrietta is electrocuted and flies into a building. Hard reveal Buttercup with a live wire behind her. Bubbles says, "Bud, way too much." The sisters hover over Henrietta's lifeless body. Buttercup says, "Oh no, did we just kill a kid?" And Blossom says, "I mean, you killed her." Bubbles says, "Sometimes you have to kill the child within in order to..." And Buttercup just cuts her off saying, No, this is really bad." Then Henrietta starts coughing, and Buttercup's eyes light up. Buttercup continues, "Not dead." Buttercup up and Bubbles high five. Then they hear cheering. They turn to discover a massive crowd cheering for them. The sisters soak it up, feeling like real heroes again. Exit at Drake's house. Day. Newscaster says, "In a sweeping reversal of fate, the Powerpuff Girls are beloved again In Townsville, and a super bloom surrounds the Altium house. Townsville residents swing by, leaving gifts. A huge sign is hung across the front lawn that says, "Thank you, Powerpuff Girls." Enter Drake's house, Blossom's bedroom, day. On the TV, the newscaster says, "The town is pleading for the girls to return permanently, but the sisters have yet to comment." Then pan from the TV to Blossom standing by the window. She admires signs outside as she listens / watches a Bitmoji. Clive, her boyfriend, and Bitmoji says, "Look, I get it. It's cool. It's a cool opportunity. I just love our life together. I don't want to ask you to turn it down, but I hope you do. Sorry, I'm doing this on Bitmoji was a stupid idea. Love you." Blossom sighs, eyes, then notices sighing outside. Exit at Drake's house, day. Blossom opens the front door as someone walks by. And Blossom says, "Jojo?" Jojo turns, smiles shyly at Blossom. Jojo says, "Hey, I was just leaving you guys a little token of appreciation." Inside, Buttercup looks out the window watching them. Buttercup says, "Bubba, come here." Bubbles joins her at the window, and Bubbles is like, "What? Whoa!" And you're cut with Blossom picking up Jojo's gift. It's an action figure of her, the one we saw Jojo holding in the teaser when he was just a kid. Blossom says, "Whoa, where'd you get this?" Jojo says, "I actually bought it behind my dad's back when I was a kid. I had to hide it under the bed like porn." Awkwardly, he over explains, "Not because I did anything creepy with it, just because he hated you." And Buttercup says, "Oh my god, this is brutal." And Blossom says, "No, yeah, I got that. I remember. I'm still so sorry, Jojo." Jojo says, "It was an accident. Speaking of, I'm sorry about falsely accusing your dad of mass terrorism." Blossom says, "Yeah, real egg on your face, huh?" And Jojo says, "A little bit, yeah." Blossom says, "Well, I guess we're even." Then awkwardly stumbles. "I mean, we're not even. No, we're close. I just mean, don't worry." And Bubbles says, "Is she flirting? Girl." Jojo says, "Do you think you guys are gonna stay?" Blossom says, "I don't know. We have to talk it out." And Jojo says, "Well, I hope you do." Jojo starts to walk away, and Blossom says, "Jojo, why don't you hate me?" And Jojo smiles, shrugs, says, "It's not for lack of trying." Night. And Blossom watches Jojo go, oddly drawn to him. And Buttercup says, "Classic hate boner." Oh my god.
Oh, that's great.
Oh man. Enter Altium house, dining room, night. The sisters talk over each other at dinner, or telling Drake a story. Their energy is magnetic and warm like old times. Buttercup says, "So Dad, I come up behind her and zap her. She flies like 20 feet and splats into a wall." And Blossom says, "And then she starts freaking out like we totally killed a kid." All of them crack up, and Drake slaps his knee and says, "Oh my god, that's hilarious. Good thing they caught her. You know she murdered her parents." And Bubbles says, really? Good goss. Oz and Drake says, so have you girls thought about whether or not you want to stay in Townsville? The girls look at each other, quiet. Blossom's about to speak when Drake cuts her off. And Drake continues saying, before you answer, I just want to say, I know you are individuals with full lives and aspirations and boyfriends and roots you've put down and solo careers. So if picking up your old mantles doesn't feel like your life anymore, I want you to honor that. The girls are shocked by Drake's uncharacteristically clarity. Buttercup says, we sure got that bug out and we sure we got that bug out and Drake says, for your information, I saw Sarah today and she gave me some very good advice. Bubbles says, you know she still has a crush on you, right? And Blossom says, it's really more of a hate boner. Buttercup says, as now you've got it. Drake says, we'll discuss Sarah later. For now, you girls need to decide what you want to get on to do. He excuses himself, saying, if you need me, I'll be in my lab. Drake leaves a beat. Buttercup says, okay, moment of truth. Are we in or are we out? They share nervous glances. Blossom, the most conflicted, and Bubbles says, grew up in a small town, and when the rain would fall down, I'd just stare out my window. Buttercup smiles, joining in, and then so now Buttercup and Bubbles say, dreaming of what could be, and if I'd end up happy, I would pray if I could break away. They both stop singing and look to Blossom. Is she in or out? Blossom looks pained, shakes her head. Buttercup and Bubbles share a disappointed nod. A silent beat. Then Blossom, belting it baby, starts singing. I'll spread my wings and I'll learn how to fly. I'll do what it takes till I touch the sky. And Buttercup says, it was a fake out. Bubbles says, what a slut. Buttercup and Bubbles are thrilled. They join in singing in each other's faces. It is visceral, a complete return to childhood. All three girls sing, I'll make a wish, take a chance, make a change, and break away. Enter Powerpuff Girls' home, Drake's lab, continuous. Drake hears the girls singing upstairs and smiles. He peers into a microscope, examining a defunct woolly bear robot. But he's doing more than just examining it. He's repairing it. The bot wriggles back to life, and Drake smiles. He walks to a cabinet, revealing a hidden door. He opens it, walks inside. Drake's secret lab. Lights flicker on as Drake places the bot in a glass cage, surrounded by other mysterious experiments and specimens. As he exits the lab, he looks at a picture on his wall, a black and white photo of him with Bubbles, Buttercup, and Blossom as babies. He looks at his girls, guilt-ridden, and enter Altium House Night. Close on the 2000 action figure of Blossom as the girls continue to scream, sing, and dance in the BG. Match 2. Enter Mayor's office night. A camera feed that JoJo watches. The action figure has a secret camera inside. A scowl on his face as his pet monkey watches the feed beside him, eating a banana. JoJo says, I'll find another way to win re-election. We took them out once. We can do it again. Right, Dad? The monkey jumps up and down, screeching with favor as we cut to black.
Oh,
in the
shit.
end. So
Mojo Jojo!
So I guess when his father died, they somehow brought his consciousness into the monkey. I'm guessing, maybe.
That's
They better.
Mojo Jojo, y'all.
Mojo
Finally.
Jojo in a nutshell. Yep.
Finally.
Oh man.
Gross. Jojo, he's gross.
Yeah.
Put a camera in an action figure.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
It's pretty dastardly. Pretty villainous, would you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
And I think everybody knew when he came to Blossom. He was just being a very good actor and not wasn't actually saddened by, or wasn't actually just not hating her anymore.
Yeah. He's got that hate boner still, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Big time.
Yep.
Oh, big time. He had two thoughts when he put that camera in that action figure. He had two thoughts.
And neither of them were about the battery life.
Oh man, and one of them probably had to do with wanting to see her naked.
Most likely.
Which it be that she was played in this by Chloe Bennett. I don't blame him that much. She is quite a beautiful lady.
Quite a beautiful lady. Good save, John. That was good. So regal at the end there. Beautiful.
So
awesome.
what did you guys think of the script as a whole?
It made me want the show to exist, and I hope it happens.
Yes.
This show they are apparently still working on it, but Chloe Bennett is not gonna be a part of it anymore. She dropped out, but they did film this pilot, so I really hope at some point they'd release this pilot somewhere for people to watch, even whether they continue the show or not, because I really want to see this pilot actually happen in some form. I don't really think the show is probably going to continue, mainly because of the CW is leaning away from high budget shows like this. They have started canceling literally almost every DC show on the network.
Yeah.
Which those are their highest budget shows. With I think this show is going to this show would probably not have any chance of actually ending up moving forward if they're or if they are canceling everything that has even a moderately sized budget. As the people who own CW now, who bought it earlier this year, or Nextstar, they think that the viewership of the network is mainly people in their 50s to 60s who don't really care for high budget television. They just want something that they can put on in the background, which is very obviously not true, because their shows have always been leaning towards the teen to young adult audience. So and okay, maybe the actual TV numbers are mainly skewed towards older audiences, but that's mainly because older audiences are the main people who still have network TV. Yes. But what they have to be actually taking into account, that I don't think the new company is taking into account, is the fact that the online viewing on the CW app and website, those are mainly done on by younger audiences, and that's really the main their main amount of people who are actually watching their stuff. So I don't know. It's interesting to me how this new network does not this new owners for them don't seem to actually understand what their audience is. But
yeah, and they keep forgetting that
they're...
like old people have a tendency to die.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
make the kids happy, damn it.
Riverdale, hello, that's one of their most successful shows right now. Like, what?
Yeah, they're like they are ending their they just a few days ago canceled Stargirl, which is one of the DC shows on there. Flash is now going into its final season. In Riverdale is going into its final season. It's like, why are all of your shows that people actually care about, you're just canceling them now? Like, that's just kind of stupid in my opinion. Like,
it's not smart.
I will say Riverdale has been on for a long time, like a long time. So it's time for Riverdale to come to a close.
Riverdale, I have not watched. I have kept a little bit of an idea of what's going on in that show, because like there's so much ridiculousness in that show, but I find it hilarious just to read up on things for it because of that. But that's when I don't really mind them ending mainly because I know that the actors have all said that they want out. They don't want to keep being on the show. So for the actors' sakes, I end that show. But it's just crazy to me them ending every show seemingly that's popular. The only big one that's on that they have not canceled yet, and I think there's a very big likelihood that this is going to get canceled, is Superman Lois. But the reason I say that I think that's very likely is because Superman is coming back into the DC movies now, so they're most likely not going to allow them to have them on the CW then.
Yeah, probably.
And especially since James Gunn now being the lead of DC, he has mentioned before or on Twitter how he does not really consider anything that is not connected to the movie universe to be valid for DC. So that's so I would not be surprised if he decides to cancel anything that's not connected.
Now, that being said, I am excited for James Gunn's version of DC stuff. Like, if he's overseeing stuff the way Kevin Feige
I do think he's going to
learned from
do
the
a great.
best.
I think he's going to do a great job.
I know he's a comic book nerd, so.
I'm excited.
And like so I don't think he's going to actually be the one who directs the new Superman film, but he will, I think, be involved in somewhat. And I think even though some people might, I think his style doesn't work well for Superman and his very comedic style, but I don't think that's what the Superman one's gonna be like, because he has shown he does actually understand the Superman character, because he was involved in the making of. There is a it's not actually technically Superman, but there is a horror film called Brightburn, about basically what if Superman were evil as a kid. And it is very accurate to like how Superman was. So I think he understands the character, and I would be interested in seeing his take on an actual bright and joyful Superman.
Fair.
Yeah. So
I don't even know who my dream Superman like creative team would be, because I feel like he's been done so rapidly in different ways recently. Like, I like Henry Cavill. I'm excited that Henry Cavill is going to play Superman again. But like Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman was so different.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, now you've got like the Joss Whedon version and the Zack Snyder version of Justice League, and they were nothing alike. And it's just a gobbledygook of a mess.
Yeah,
I just don't want to see Ben Affleck as Batman anymore. I'm just sick of Batman.
Yes.
Oh, he's so depressing.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen exactly with Ben Affleck as Batman. Because he is
Keep 'em
coming back
separate.
for multiple films going forward, but but their cameo appearances and appearances connecting to the Flash film.
Right.
But I don't know what is going on with Flash film because I can't imagine they actually like I follow try to actually make that as big of a thing as it was going to be before with everything that's happened with Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
That would it just doesn't seem very smart for them as a brand to do. They were also going to be having Michael Keaton but I'm kind of wondering if they're planning on changing stuff with the Flash film, and that might be one of the reasons why they canceled Batgirl was because they don't want to have Michael Keaton be part of this universe now.
Why should Michael Keaton be what's the word? Blamed?
Ostracized.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm definitely not trying to blame him, but I'm wondering if that's what they're doing. Like they're maybe trying to change the ending of the Flash film, and that they maybe try to him not being a part of the universe going forward may just be a side effect of that, and that could be part of why they canceled Batgirl. I don't think that's the main reason they canceled Batgirl. Well, I have theories about that, but we don't have to get into all of those. All right. Well, before I end this off, as you both know, I have been doing recently. Been doing this thing where I allow my co-hosts and guests to give me something to say in my announcer voice before ending the episode off. So, do either of you have anything you'd like me to say in my announcer voice?
Hold on, I'm typing it in the chat.
You may have to cut out the silence here for a bit. I'm
Yeah.
also going to type it in the chat.
All right. Well,
this is gonna be a while. Hang on. Okay. Now where is chat? All right.
All right. So I have two things I'm going to say in my announcer voice. JoJo has a hate boner, and I'm not serious, and don't call me Shirley. All right. I'm
gonna make that my ringtone, John.
Okay.
The hate boner one, not the Shirley one.
Yeah, just put both of them in there, and then everybody will just hear me say those things when you get a call and just be like, "What are you doing, Keith? Why are you doing this?"
I'm gonna edit them so that it says JoJo has a hate boner and don't call me Shirley. Perfect.
Oh my god. Actually, what you could do is, I am serious. JoJo has a hate boner, and don't call me Shirley.
Okay. Well, you just said it, so now I don't have to edit it. I'm just gonna use that one.
Okay. All right. Well, before I end this off, do either of you have anything you'd like to say?
Keith passing it off to me. Thank you for having me. This was fun, and I hope the show does see the light of day because I think it's an interesting concept.
Oh yeah.
This would be a very cool show, honestly, and the cast that I'd see, other than losing the name escapes me, Chloe something. Chloe Bennett, that's what it is. Losing her from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I even though I think someone else, maybe a little younger, would make sense. No offense, Chloe, if you listen to this. But no, I think it could work with the right tone. I think it could be a blast. Yeah. And also thank you for having me, John. I haven't been on and recorded with you in a long time, and I appreciate your understanding with that. Lots going on, of course, but I enjoy being back. Of course,
I don't I will always find a way to deal with it when you're not able to record or you don't no, I appreciate when you are able to actually record with me. Thank you.
man.
'Cause,
I miss it.
Yeah. I agree. I would like to see this. I would actually rather get to be on like on maybe like a HBO Max or some streaming service so that they can actually like they can allow like some cursing in it, and I think that would be really fun on but and like they went pretty far with the sex jokes in this, but
They did.
they could go even further if it were on
Yeah.
a streaming service, which I think would be absolutely hilarious.
Agreed.
And thank you again, and Annabelle for coming. And I really appreciate you doing this. And I'm happy you enjoyed yourself. All right, so and everyone should check out the Variant Vendetta podcast. They're doing some great stuff over there.
Yeah.
Do you guys have you guys is November planned out yet?
We do. We have our November and our December planned out.
Okay.
And if you listen to our most recent episode coming out this Friday, we review Misery, the movie Misery. And if you can watch that movie and tell us a word count of how many times they say misery, we might DM you our schedule for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Damn.
All right.
Okay.
Well, the people listening to this will probably already heard that episode of your podcast.
Oh,
since
that's
come out
right.
on Tuesday. But
It comes out tomorrow.
hey,
Shit.
hey, you'll,
My bad.
no, it's all right. Yeah, definitely give a listen to their Misery a review, and I had tried to find out and find your how many words that are said with that in the film. All right. So everyone, thank you for listening to this. And if you like this gamma analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode, so please let me know. And if you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. Many more gamma analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash Trivia John, signing off.